Hello everyone, my name is FlareBlitzed here, and we've returned back to the letter. Cold Luxburn air meets me upon stepping out the hallway. Not unusual in itself. This is what Luxburn's weather is supposed to be. A bit cold, damp for the most part, and more often than not, terribly drab with an occasional sprinkling of rain every few hours. The sky's still clear, but I'll give it a day or two before the weather takes a turn for the worst. I've complained about the awful rains for years, despite having lived here my entire life. I have to admit though, seeing it return to the usual feels extremely reassuring. At least, something's still normal in the world, when I can no longer think the same for the situation we're in. A nightmare? That's probably all of this. Usually I'll say I've been through worse, but that's simply another lie I've often told myself, isn't it? And I've fed myself a great deal of lies through the years, just so that I won't have to think about it the next day. Maybe we won't even have this problem if I haven't been running away and ignoring things, hiding them somewhere no one else will see. Because I've seen since believed doing so is a show of weakness. But blank do I know about ghosts though. What does Zach? What does Rebecca? Z-Man has mentioned dreaming about a woman. Whether it's the same one we've been seeing I've yet to ask. Bottom line, he likely knows as much about this as I do. Hell, Rebecca's probably in the same boat, grasping for air that might provide an answer, a way out of this. What can any of us do when all of us lacks any understanding of what's happening? One thing's clear about this, however, that thing is after us because of the letter. Both Rebecca and Zach have seen it too. She will go after them as well. Yet here I am, walking up Becca's door, one slow step at a time, a stalling tactic to allow myself some time to put the mess in my head in a better order. How to phrase this when there's a 90% chance she's still annoyed about a whole different matter? It's the only reason we don't check on her last night. Aside from the ungodly hour Isabella and I arrived, we'll only alarm her by showing up in her home in the middle of the night, acting like blubbering lunatics, and her anger can last quite a while. These days, it seems the only one she can easily forgive is Isabella. But even with her, Becca's fuming still takes hours. I run my head through my hair and straighten out my jacket before knocking. Once, twice, and 3 times, just to be sure she has heard me, even if she is asleep. She's usually awake by now, though. Hey Becca, it's Ash. Open up. Don't tell me you're still in bed. Seconds tick by. No answer from her. And dread has started to creep up. I've been trained to handle dire situations, but the feeling has been doing that quite frequently since last night. My mind begins to anticipate the worst, and in the next minute, concern has mixed in with my thoughts, and I bang my fist in the door, louder this time. She'll definitely be livid, but I'd rather face her wraith than a dead body. Becca, it's Ash. There's something we need to talk about right away. Open up. I know your girlfriend left early this morning, pretty boy. So if you could do us a bloody favour and shut up, that would be real polite. My hand pauses short of landing another heavy knock from the other unit. Rebecca's other neighbour peeks in through this door, though I see nothing but a bundle of blankets. I'll say they need help from being devoured by their sheets, but it sounds like he's just fine. He's a huge blank too. Course of action, so people like him won't ruin your day. Act like the nicest person on the planet. Has done me wonders when I was a rookie patrolling the streets. No need to match his temper. Oh, did she say where she was going? I don't know. She said something about meeting someone or something. In case... Okay, a girl over there asks. But what am I, her keeper? No, some people want to sleep in on a bloody Sunday, so keep it down. I was looking forward to the weekend. Thanks, you damn git. Well, there does need to be an ass about it. I'll get out of your... He slams his door shut without warning, but not before muttering a string of very colourful words about me. Probably thinks I won't hear him inside the four walls of his apartment. Jerk. And at the end of it, a sigh. So Rebecca's not here. I must have missed her by an hour or so. But at least she's not alone. She should be safe, in theory. More so if the person she's meeting with is who I am thinking. Nevertheless, I still can't help but worry. It's an easy thing, continuing down increasingly dark lines of thought. To act brashly, to find out where she is and go straight there, without deliberating on my actions first. There's Zach to boot. Rebecca's not alone, but I can't say the same for the big guy. A simple phone call to the both of them should do the trick. It'll ease my nerves at any rate. It's better than rushing over to Zach's place or assuming Rebecca's whereabouts, and finding out they're not where I've guessed they should be. Assuming worse will come next, which I'd rather avoid this early. Any other reason, I won't bother them. But an emergency begs for urgency. This is one, right? Even if it isn't, anxiety from concern dulls judgment. Something I most certainly can't afford to lose at any given time, especially right now. Any means to calm it will do wonders for the muddled mess my mind is already in. Pulling up my phone, I thumb through the screen until it ends on a group with only Zach's, Rebecca's and Isabella's numbers listed. Close friends. Other people probably say I keep too few friends when they chance on this. To some extent it's true. I can easily name about 100 people I've been acquainted with through the years. Colleagues, blockmates from uni, neighbours, those sorts of people. They all come and go, but these three have chosen to stay for some reason, without wanting or asking for anything. Unlike the others, none has Zach's kindness, Rebecca's patience, nor the sincerity in Isabella's eyes. One day these guys are just there, the next thing I know, being with them eases it. That heavy, sombre feeling lingering in the air when you stand alone in your apartment, or something as simple as spending your day off without anyone. I'll say it's loneliness, but this carries much more depth than that. If I can help it, I don't want to lose any of them to some stupid curse. A phone call may be the least comforting thing at the moment. Honestly, I prefer being in the same room with them right now, but I'll take what I can get. Becca first. She'll get angry at me for worrying about her. She isn't some helpless dimsy in distress after all. She isn't the shy little girl I knew when we were both children. We're already far from the people we were back then, but that's more than enough reason to check on her. I don't have to imagine her taking anything head on. She'll do it, instead of asking for help when she needs it. I don't care if she gets mad at me, if only to know that she's fine. A ring in the silence of the hallway. Its sound alone might as well be sharp enough to pierce through my ears. Another second passes, 2, 3. But when on the 9th ring it goes straight to her voicemail, a cold feeling instantly lodges in my stomach. Rebecca Gar's here, you've reached my voicemail, so if I can't get to you right now... Excuse me. Oh, and if this is Isabel, yes, you're free to reheat the food in my fridge, otherwise leave a message. Probably just busy, that's all. Though I still barely manage to keep my voice even when I speak. Sorry. Hey, Becca, call me back when you're free. We need to talk ASAP. Becca will be alright. Is alright. She's safe. She's with someone else. If the event that woman shows up, she'll have someone with her. Someone she'll be able to ask for help. She's safe. She can handle herself. Becca might have a fiery temper, but she knows when she's faced with something she can't handle herself. Rebecca will see my missed call and she'll call me back. Though I don't express it enough, even Yeah, don't express it enough. Rebecca is someone I consider important to me. Ah. She's been my friend for the longest. Far too long than anybody else would have been fed up with me and left. That girl stuck by me, no matter how big of a jerk I've been. There's Zach and Isabel now, too, of course. I'll always be thankful for having them around. For worse times before, however, Becca was there. No one believes it when I say it, but I've surely had my awful moments as a bratty kid and as a horrible teen. Issues? I've had too many of them to count and refuse to deal with for a time. At least, that's what Andrew likes to tell me. I tend to think nothing of it. It has mellowed down over the years, thanks to the professor mostly. But at times, I do wonder if it still burdens me the way I did all those years ago. After all, I was terrible, especially around the time of my parents' separation. Looking back at it now, I had no reason to direct all my frustration towards everyone else. When I wasn't a kid who lashed out at everyone, preferring to keep it to myself and turning those negative feelings into more productive things. I've grown distant from a lot of people because of it, from my old friends back in my old school and the neighbours I've hung out with before moving. A habit I lightly brought with me into adulthood. I was just so angry with everyone and everything. All I kept thinking about was myself, wondering why me. In retrospect, I was a selfish little brat who thought the world revolved around me, that I shouldn't have been going through it. I believed my behaviour was entitled, but I had the right. Tough times, but she stuck with me, snapped me out of my little sulk, as she often phrases it, whenever she sees the chance to bring it up. She doesn't tolerate my behaviour, but she doesn't leave me alone either. If anything, the whole thing made her stick around. Her concern may have grown a bit overbearing as the years went by, but she's still an old friend nevertheless. I owe her a lot. That won't change. Damn it, where are you, Becca? Another message on her voicemail has been left. Then on my phone call I hang up. For the time being, I can't do anything more than to wait for her to return my calls. Worrying aimlessly won't get me anywhere. Zach, on the other hand, that guy attracts trouble no matter how much he tries to avoid it. Doesn't help how he hasn't been too hot lately with a lot of people. His mention of plans yesterday doesn't sit too well with me either. He might be the next responsible adult after Rebecca out of the four of us, but I've still got to check on the big guy. Make sure he's doing okay at the very least. Whatever he has planned on doing. All I'm asking is for it not to be idiotic. He's a sensible guy, I'm sure. However, desperation clings and pushes people to do things, rational or irrational. It doesn't matter. Clear thinking flies out of the window the moment you're in danger, and I sincerely hope he has not found himself in a tricky situation. His phone doesn't even ring before he answers, or his voicemail at least. Hey, it's Zach. Well, my voicemail anyway. I'll get back to you as soon as I can, so just leave a message, yeah? I know, Ash. You're not allowed to lockpick your way into my apartment again. Just do what any other decent human being does and call if I'm not around, thanks. Did he turn it off? Why? I don't want to assume the worst yet. Maybe he has forgotten to charge it. Can't be. That guy can be a bit of a Boy Scout, even more than I am as a cop. He's the type who has an extra battery or a power bank in his bag if he needs it, and he always does. He won't say anything or brag about it, but he's got a quite roster of VIP freelance clients. He won't just leave his phone dead in case he's on the field, particularly when people will likely be looking for him. He always leaves his connection open whenever clients or his friends need him. Zach is reliable like that. Why isn't anyone answering? His mobile in an out-of-range area sounds more plausible, although the thought of it doesn't completely shake off the unease. Unlike Rebecca and I, he took the time to listen to what Isabel said. Even if he didn't believe it, he was definitely the first one to offer help or try to do something. If he ends up trouble doing whatever it is, so help me, I'm going to. Well, I can't be rash. I'm aware of that. Been running the same reminder in my head since last night. But if something happens, I'm certain my reaction won't be pretty. Yo, Zach, call me back, alright? I want to check in and, yeah, just please call me back. It's usually a joke between us when I say he's the Watson to my Sherlock. I don't see him as some assistant to put aside until he's needed, like some people like to believe though. He's not some pity friend I keep around to make myself look good. If anything, he's the one who stayed by me out of pity. Zach is the one who puts up with me most of the time. Even when he doesn't need to, it's not a case of a cool cop who helped out a minority. In truth, I was a hard-headed, hot-tempered, and reckless rookie up until I met him. It wasn't anything sudden, and some part of me is still that rookie, but I've grown, thanks to him. He tempers that part of me. Considering how our first impressions went, I'm lucky he's still around. Becky and I may have spent a lot of years together as children, but Zach, he's probably the closest thing I call to a best friend, though it's more than that. A comrade no words can express. He has my back, and I always have his. He's a brother I've never had the luck of ever having, only child and all. And I have every reason to worry about my brother. Becca's neighbour did say she went out to meet with someone. No specific names. Sorry. If I'm wrong and she's not with Professor Clark, then maybe it's with Zach. October the 30th. No, that's not what I want. I want journal. 30th. Yeah, Rebecca did go to the library, so at this point in time, she is probably still at the library. Good. So she's looking up books, I would say, at this point in time. But maybe it's with Zach. They've never been close, but it's not the kind of awkward friendship where meeting together remains out of the question. Regardless, I continue dialing on his phone another 3 times, like I've done with Becca's. In the end, after the third attempt with no one answering, I stop and move to cut the call with a rigid exhale. Waiting game it is then. I've been trained for those. Hell, I'm used to them. Just not when it comes to people I'm close to. Much as I keep reminding myself to maintain a level head, it's a whole different matter when it's someone you know. Personal feelings will likely get involved at some point. It's starting now, actually, with the anxious strings coiling and uncoiling, causing a racket inside my stomach. And that's exactly when the line finally connects. Before he even speaks, my question has already slipped out, including every pent-up worry and tension in my body. Where are you? The line's choppy, but I can still make out the words he's saying. Nothing to worry about then. He's just someplace where network coverage is rubbish. Can't imagine where at this time of the morning, though. Did he go out for a jog? What was that, Ash? Can you repeat that? Signal's rubbish here. I asked, where are you? Hell's Ash, I've been calling your number for a good 20 minutes now. What kind of blank place did you get into? I meant that to sound as friendly as possible, to keep things light, at least. Instead, only the frustration shows in my tone. Good morning to you too. I should be asking you that question. I've been looking all over the mansion for you. I thought you'd be... What mansion? Do I really need to answer that? Why are you even... Please don't tell me that's his plan. A morning visit to the mansion, where Luke Wright is. Of all the pig-headed things to do right now, it's the best thing he can come up with. Breaking and entering. I've got plenty of reasons to rail at him right now. Although no matter how much I want to give him a piece of my mind, unfortunately it's not the time. No, wait. Just get your ass at Isabel's place and hurry. He pauses a moment. A second of indecision while he seems to contemplate his options. How urgent is this? In truth, the question, the hesitation and indecision in his voice, has caught me completely off guard. An understanding dawns on me. His decision to go there isn't one born out of a stupid impulse. He must have found something. However, no matter how urgent it is, he still shouldn't have gone there, alone at that. Despite myself, in that split second of comprehension allowed it to show a weakness, and simple requests brimming with every unease and disquiet causing turmoil within me since last night. It bears a selfish hope that he will understand, even though the unstable signal, that whatever's keeping him there, he'll be willing to set it aside for now. Pressing enough for you to stop asking questions to get yourself here. Please, Zach. Silence falls the other end of the line again. For a long moment I assume he won't heed it, and I'll have to drive there myself, just to drag him away from whatever danger he's skirting. Thankfully he agrees. I'll be there in a few, an hour or two. No, an hour or two tops. Thanks, I'll see you. Relief washes over me as soon as the call ends. Indeed, it must be that. After that close call, Ashton spent the night at Isabel's, only to be kept awake by nightmares, and an utter loss, and with all of his beliefs overturned, Ashton decided to check on Zachery and Rebecca. Unfortunately, only Zachery returned his calls. Yes. And save. Excellent. What about that on the screen? Oh, come on. There we go. Call ends. Normally, I don't let myself have a moment of respite in times like these. Gotta stay alert. Excuse me. Rebecca's still out there, has yet to return any of my messages. But for the moment, I relish it. This is probably the first time I've permitted myself to do so since last night. Even the muscles on my shoulder have been complaining from all the attention I've taken on. It still annoys me that all I can do right now is grit my teeth and trudge back to Isabel's apartment. Useless. That's what I am in the face of this. A mad dash around Luxburn and Alcyon isn't going to help things. It's not like I'll simply stumble across them on the side of the road during a drive. This city's too big of a place for one person to go search around for only two people. I'll be lucky if I even glimpse the hair on either of them. With one last hopeful glimpse towards the open skies, I slipped back into Isabel's apartment and closed the door behind me. I might have already grown used to this, but waiting will always be the hardest part, more so when it's people you care about. You're up early, I thought you left. This is not the first time I've seen Isabel like this, standing casually by her kitchenette, a ladle in hand, keeping an eye on whatever's stewing on the stove, while humming a soft tune under her breath. 5 years ago it has become a common sight after the three of them, including Zach and Rebecca, found a mutual interest in cooking. After that, whenever our schedule allows it, one of them will invite everyone to dinner or lunch instead of eating out. Rebecca prefers it that way. Healthier, she claims. Zach is just too happy to be able to cook for everyone. Isabel, on the other hand, as long as there's food, she's happy. Me? I've been banned from the kitchen ever since the pressure cooker incident. Easier times. Good times. Right now, however, the scene brings an odd sense of normalcy. A strange fit with all of the things going on around us. Not unwelcome, only bizarre, I suppose. Isabel doesn't follow up on her question earlier, but she just raised an eyebrow my way when I take too long to answer. For that, I only offer a casual shrug in response in a short answer. I've checked with Zach and Rebecca. I'm just waiting to hear back from them. I'll add in a quip or two for her. If the timing for a joke isn't off or doing so won't be inappropriate. I don't want to alarm her either. There's no reason to, yet. Until Zach gets here or until I've received an answer from Rebecca, whichever comes first. Nevertheless, it's clear she has plenty of questions. It's right there in the subtle crease between her eyebrows, in the acquisitive gleam in her eyes. Curious as she is, though, she decides against voicing all of her questions out. Instead, she shifts her attention back to the stove and gestures vaguely with her hand in the couch's direction. Well, if we're going to wait for them, don't stand around there. It's getting distracting. You're just cooking. How am I distracting? I don't know. Something might explode again, maybe. Zach's kitchen ban for you is also in effect here, you know. Now go, shoo. Stop hovering, you'll ruin the food. I'll be done here soon. She leaves with no reason for an argument by swatting the laddie at me. And just like that, I've been kicked out of the kitchen. Left with nothing else to do, I drift back to her tiny living space and slump down on the couch. Closing my eyes, I allow the noise from the television to guide my thoughts. The ones I've been keeping at bay, freeing them from the cage I've built around them, so I won't have to think. One by one, they trickle back into my consciousness. Even more frightening and unnerving than the other. So many things going on. So many things happening. The papers we've gotten from BRC doesn't provide any comfort either. Seriously. Is there even a point to those after last night? What will asking those people do, if anything? This only proved there might be more copies of that dumb piece of paper. We have one here, but how many exactly is there out there? More importantly, how do we get out of this stupid mess? Ashton? Damn it. I haven't felt this kind of bone-withery exhaustion in years. I don't want to think what might happen next in case I miss something. Damn it. Rebecca, Zach, Isabel. They're all depending on me and... Ash! The voice snaps me out of my thoughts, abruptly wiping away everything running a racket inside my head. Suddenly Isabel's there, crouched in front of me when I crack an eye open. I haven't even noticed the exact moment when I've bent over and buried my head in my hands. Figures while she's staring at me, I've fainted or something. The crease in her eyebrow grows deeper at my lack of response. Although she's merely staring at me. Sorry. Without saying a word. Her expression says everything. So much for trying not to alarm her with bad news. Sorry, I just spaced out for a moment. Don't mind me. For a brief moment she seems to accept that. Quietly, she shifts, stands up, and takes the empty space right beside me. All done without a single comment then. The next thing I know, she's gently pushing the bowl in my hands. The scent reaches me first, before I've gotten the chance to take in what she has just handed me. A faint, sweet smell of cocoa wafts from the dish. Calming, comforting. Despite the multitude of things bothering me, it certainly smells like the kind of food you'll eat on a rainy day, though from the get-go it doesn't look as appetizing. What is it even? Porridge? Why would you put chocolate in it, and milk drizzled on top? She tells me my tastes are weird, yet here she is, handing me something equally as strange. In fact, she has already started digging in hers. I'm just not sure if the taste will be equally as appealing. Baffled, I glance her way. She offers no immediate answer, simply continuing eating as if she hasn't done so in a week, with her focus solely on the television. She's not watching, however, just listening, as a background noise. The voice from it seems too cheerful, a welcome distraction if anything. It's only after she has finished off half her bowl does she acknowledge the question in my eyes. Without a sigh, she cradles the dish on her lips and looks down at it. Briefly, her lips part, then closes. A hesitation, though I don't push it. There's a distant air on her, as if she has remembered something that warrants a poignant thought. When she speaks at last, it's in a tone too careful, like she's still weighing her words, considering the proper phrasing of it. Yet sincerity underlies each syllable once they're out in the open. You should eat. Back at home, Mama would never let us leave the house if we haven't eaten breakfast yet. Even Papa's got an earful when he tried. So eat, you need it. She returns to her food afterwards, while I can only stare at the one she has pre-offered not a few minutes ago. Warm against my hands tempted me to take a bite. Not that I don't appreciate this, but what good will this do? Zach and Rebecca's both out there. Who knows when that ghost will show up again? Even in our dreams we're not safe, but that's it, isn't it? We don't know when, and at present we have a chance at respite, maybe the only one we'll have. even if it's as mundane as sharing food between us quietly, just sitting side by side like this, without exchanging any words. The intent hangs unspoken in the air, something that probably goes as far back as the second she offered food. Still, in the end, Isabel never pushes it. Rather, she lets her own silence convey her hope. Of course I'll take her offer. That is the best thing we can do. Like, it's food after all. Thank you. Nah, and that increase is excellent. The words roll off my tongue, awkward and unfamiliar, far removed from those jests and quibs we've shared. Yet she accepts this with a smile and nothing else, regardless of everything left unsaid. The sight of it brings comfort, more so than any generous offer of food can give. Though we both lapse into silence after, as we finish our food, there's ease in it. In the muffled sounds of Luxburn filtering into the room, in the light streaming from her windows and the faint draft occasionally drifting in, catching the loose tendrils of her hair, in the way her voice falters, when she tries to form words, and despite the horror looming over us, I find myself wishing for the minutes to for the seconds to last, but ultimately she's the one who breaks it, softly after a minute's pause, in words mumbled under her breath. Sometimes silence simply compels us to speak. I've been wondering, before last night, before Mama told me the news, what if Papa passed away despite everything? The sort of thing I know it's not a good thing to think about, but I always knew it was getting worse. Mama won't say anything, but I've always known that one day he'll eventually. She realizes a sigh as her grip on her bowl holds tightens. There are no tears, but she might as well have them with how weak her voice falls. Are there even any left? I just don't know what I'm going to do. Before, I can always easily say it's because of Papa. Now, I don't even have anything. You have that scholarship from Lux U. Were you going through my personal papers while I was falling asleep last night? I don't really have to. You'd have to stick in the open, right there on the table. Like there's still anything to hide, she snatches it away from where I placed it back earlier. Except there's no anger or annoyance in her face when she looks at it, and rereads every line with a pensive expression. After a short while, she folds it neatly against the creases and sets it back. I don't even know if this will work out. Well, it doesn't. What about that exhibit you've been playing with Zach? Do I even have to ask where you got that? Zach sucks at lying. You have no idea how easy he is to read. It was all on his face when I asked about it. And anyway, if that doesn't pan out too, I trail off, hesitating, measuring the weight of my next words. Genuine as they are, a part of me believes they're a burden, too heavy to impulse upon her. Because no matter how much I want to stay, we are not what ties her here. It'll be selfish to ask that of her. More than anything, her family will always come first. I say it nonetheless, if only to let her know that no matter what her choice will be, there will be people here whose lives her mere presence has changed. Mine most of all. You have us. The words startled her to a pause, and slowly she turns, her eyes wide, disbelief all over her face. But before regret forces an apology upon my throat, her expression dissolves to something I can't quite place. Something distinctly softer, more tender, familiar, almost in the same time she glimpsed at me years ago. That day at the bridge. However, I don't get the chance to figure out what it all means to her. All of a sudden a knock breaks for a moment. That could be Zach, for all we know. After leaving their friends in urgent message, Ashton returned to Isabella's apartment. He found the girl already up and about, cooking. Seeing his exhaustion, Isabella reminded him that he should take care of himself and offered him food. With a mutter of thanks, he accepted. A knock is all we need for this material. Before things can get awkwardly fast, I stand up to open the door while muttering some flimsy excuse in the process. I'll get that. It's probably Zachery or Rebecca. Really, I know we're in a pinch, but their timing can't get any worse. Unrelated frustration aside, once I fling open the door, a whole chunk of the stone that has been stuck at the pit of my stomach simultaneously unsets itself. There in the hallway stands Zach, his hand raised ready for another knock. Although he's not at his most presentable at the moment, ruffled and drenched with sweat as he is, relief quickly washes over me like a tide. He's still panting when he pushes me aside and heads in. The second his feet crosses the threshold, he scans the place, eyeing what little he can see of the room from the doorway. When he finds none of whatever he's looking for, he turns to me with a questioning look, one that has a hint of panic in it. You said it was urgent. Did anything happen? Is it Becca? Bella? Everyone's fine. Well, Becca's not here. She went somewhere this morning, hasn't answered any of my calls yet. But Isabel? I'm here, Zach. Morning. His weight shifts at the same time the stiff line in his shoulders ease, once Isabel walks up to us and welcomes him with a smile. He relaxes then, returns her greeting in kind. As soon as he has let out the breath he has been holding and the tension's finally off his body. So, nothing's wrong. Why'd you call me here for, then? My explanation can wait. He has a lot of explaining to do. The fact that he went to the asylum alone, for some godforsaken reason, warrants a proper one. Ghost or not, he's already been given a warning. It frustrates me to no end this might be the plan he mentioned the last time we spoke. I get that he's worried about Hannah Wright. Somehow. They've been friends, but that's not the issue here. Not when there's a murderous ghost who might be going after one of us at any given time. Sure, Zach made it here one piece by some dumb luck. He's right, and this takes one off the list of people I need to worry about. Frankly, as annoyed as I am, I can't just stay angry at him when I look at the situation that way. Hell, if that call didn't connect in the exact minute, there might have been a chance he won't be standing here. This is a blessing in itself. You promise you wouldn't do anything stupid. I always pick the top option for this scenario of my first time playing the game. Right, so what's the friendship gauge like at the moment? Excuse me. So Zachery is there. I think it would be better for a relationship to increase if we put you okay, but for this material alone, I'm going to press the top option, and it drops. Okay, I thought so. Specifically, the elephant in this room, and it's a damn big elephant considering the possibility outcomes Zach's cute little plan might have resulted in. I might as well let off some steam first before we go to the heart of things. Zach, we agreed you won't do anything stupid. Really, Ashton? That's what you're going to greet me with? No, what's up, Z-Man? I just biked through almost half the city to get here. I could use some friendly greetings right now. An exclamation would be good too. If you can't, you weren't very clear over the phone. And I made no such promises. You said you're not going to do anything reckless. Your words, not mine. What you did is the exact opposite. And that's not the only problem here. Those people can easily sue you for breaking and entering. And believe me, I won't be able to do anything if they do. Did that cross your mind? The whole 46-acre lot is a private property. Why were you even there? I know, Ash, but the people in there might be in danger. Besides, I was looking for you. Didn't I tell you that? Why would I even go there? Well, you mentioned a plan with Isabel here. I assumed that's where you guys went, since that's where she found a letter. Sorry, I was really at a dead end. The logic in it stuns me into silence to say the least. Then I remember his hesitation, the tone he has taken before agreeing to go there. And all at once my anger winds. Partly this is my fault for keeping things vague. I can't keep berating him for assuming that, when I've only left him with vague answers. Yep, indeed. Let's go over here then. Okay. Zachery arrived at some well, tired and frazzled. Upon learning that he had come from the Ermengarde Mansion that morning, a very irate Ashton chilled his friend for ignoring his warnings and being reckless. Yeah, chilled his friends, but there should be an L between I and D. Still, you could have called me. I did. I didn't receive any, and my phone was with me. You're kidding, right? I was at it the whole night. The whole atmosphere in the room changes in 2 heartbeats. Back again to the tension-riddled one plaguing us. Zachery stares at me like I've grown another head. Then gradually, he shifts his attention to Isabel. The expression in his eyes, questioning, asking for a confirmation, like my words can't be trusted. Not that I'm holding it against him. I can't even believe the things coming out of my mouth those past 2 hours. Few hours. Meanwhile, Isabel stays quiet. Has been like that for quite some time. She looks like she wants to disappear right now. Guilt, frustration, anger, fear, all the flashes fleeting across her face before it melts away under an expression of worry. Please tell me he's joking. You were there. No, we didn't get any. Everything was quiet last night. But Zach, at BRC, Ashton and I saw... She never gets to finish that.
Sup, I'm Ash from D-Lux City. Baggers watch out, can't beat me. Looking for trouble? Better
Becca.
not lie. I'm a cool dude. Pretty fly for an Asian guy.
However, the tone she assumes isn't what I'm hoping to hear. Ashton, are you there? Rigid, a bit out of breath. There's a teeny of urgency in it. Listening to her from my side of the line makes it seem like she has just run a marathon prior to this call. Becca, I got your message. What happened? Nothing here yet. Where are you? Downtown. I had to make a quick visit to the library. Listen, Ash, about that thing Isabel's been talking about. There's something you guys need to... Please tell me you didn't... Whatever. Save it for later. I'm at Sunwell. If you can get here as soon as possible, that'd be really great. This is related to that. You're there? Is Isabel with you? Yeah, Zach too. With a quick press of a button, I switched on the loudspeaker and stepped back to Isabel's apartment. I held up the phone towards the two, giving it 2 shakes, urging them to speak. Both are still carrying worried looks on their faces. This should ease them. Rebecca's asking for you two. Isabel, is she okay? Hey Becca! Hello Rebecca, odd morning we're having, huh? Hey you two, what's happened over there? Is there something I should be worried about? We'll tell you once you get here. Please hurry. I don't like the sound of that, Ash, but I'm on my way. Give me a few minutes, I'm driving. She mumbles a goodbye then hangs up. Becca's the last person I need to account for. Yet that call left an even more strained tension in the room. Thankfully, we don't have to linger in it for too long. She only takes a matter of minutes to get here, and the second she steps into the room, Isabel clings to her. I'm so glad you're okay. Safe and sound, yeah. Ashton checked on you this morning, but he did? I'm sorry, I was in a hurry. I didn't have time to drop by and let you know. It doesn't matter. What's important is you're here. Not burnt to a crisp or brutally murdered somewhere. Whole, alive. Although she seems a bit shaken, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. At least now I can relax, ease the pressure off my shoulders, if only by some. But the minute Isabel pulls her away, she winces. A small reaction. The younger woman didn't even catch it. It sets a I don't know how to pronounce that word. For a careful observation nonetheless. A closer look at her reveals a much more disheveled than usual. Disheveled. Hair in a bit of mess. Probably flattened in a hurry. The back of her hairdress also shows stains of dirt in places it rarely gets into. She's also leaning more on her using left arm. She's right-handed. Probably the most telling is the slight limp she has, noticeably one Isabel leads her into the room. It all sprouts a hatful of questions. What exactly happened and how did she end up in that state? Pretty sure a simple trip to the library won't do that. I'll grab for her arm before she can walk past, careful to avoid hurting her, in case there really is an injury. It seems like at first glance, but you can't be sure until after a careful examination has been made. I suspect some bruising at least. Although minor internal fractures aren't out of the question, they have a nasty way of staying hidden. Sure enough, Becca tenses immediately upon contact. Tries to pull back, although the sudden gesture only elicits another wince, forcing her and Isabel to a hold. Yeah. Both of them turn to me almost at the same time, their eyes searching mine for answers. Rebecca, on her part, doesn't appear quite pleased with the interruption, or the fact someone has brought it up to light. Yes, are you alright would be the best course of action. Are you alright? Are you okay? You're limping. That's gone down. Where's it gone up? As expected, she tries to hide it. This time, when she squirms from my grasp, it's with enough force she almost stumbles back if Zach hasn't caught her by the elbow. Even with two more people shooting her concerned looks, she's swift to shrug it off. It's fine, I just had a little accident. Little accident? How so hard to believe when her arm's nursing the supposed fine arm. Isabel doesn't buy any of it either. In a library? Well, yeah, it kind of caught me off guard. Something's happened there, hasn't it? I don't have to elaborate on the question further. Surely she goes very still on her hand placed over her right arm. Shifts ever so slightly, its grip on the limb tightening. Not too firm to hurt, but just enough for a gesture of comfort for herself. Warily, she casts a glimpse at everyone in the room, but only the one she spares, for Isabel lingers longer, and in that moment something unspoken presses between them, an understanding. It strikes me seconds later how utterly familiar her expression is. It's the same one I've seen far too many times in Isabel. Since the day at the movie house, every time her attempts to warn us has been so rudely dismissed. Let me see. Can we ever check if it's bad? Rebecca hesitates for a moment. Then, after a minute of consideration, she sighs and reaches for the hem of her sleeve, raises it just enough for Isabel to take a good look at it. Not swollen, but a large portion of her skin started to turn an ugly shade of purple. Oh, that is going to be one hell of a nasty bruise. Tell me about it. It was a library cart that hit me. You know, the old metal ones they kept near the history section. Ouch, like I said, nasty. But she's there. She went after you. Yeah, I was in the archives looking something up. Suddenly she was there. Belly, she was using my own students against me. What kind of terrible person does that? Makes my blood boil. You should have still ran. That woman's not something you can hit with a book. Laughing at Ashton, I did. Then the bloody carts came out of nowhere. And you know what? If it weren't for a damn book, I would be dead by now. Silence descends in the room as the gravity of that one word hits all of us. Yes. Indeed. It's not entirely in a metaphysical realm, then, where physical properties do not apply. To Ashton and Isabel's relief, Rebecca later called back. Soon, she showed up at Sunningwell, looking worse for wear. When the detective asked about it, worried all the redhead could give was a frustrated answer. Fortunately, before the topic turned grim, Isabel stepped in. Sorry. Oh yeah, press up here. Dead. Another close call. Another would have. Another one we've narrowly avoided. How long could we keep this up? We're bound to break at one point. No normal human being with the same mind could last like this. It's a miracle Isabel hasn't cracked yet. After all, she was the one who found that letter. I've expected her to cave in by now, yet her voice, calm and composed in the face of this, is what cuts through the thick air. I'll get a cold compress for that arm. You guys take a seat first. Ashton and I, we we all have a lot of things to talk about. That marks the end of it, at least for the time being. And as soon as Isabel returns and Rebecca's hands Rebecca the cold compress she promised, we get straight down to business. Surprisingly easy considering the rigid air in the room. Although there's some tense fumbling from words at first, the whole conversation gains steam once what happened last night at BRC has been put on the table. All at once, everything we've brushed off, carelessly ignored, and rudely dismissed has been laid out for close scrutiny. Someone said scrutiny, but there's no CY in there. Zachery's encounters with the woman in his dreams, Rebecca's close brushes with death every time she appears, the dread, the fear, the terror she breathes out even in the bravest of us, everything. Because no matter how bleak this all seems, there must still be a way out of this. There has to be logic, be damned. Or at least, that's what Isabel and I would like to believe. Yet even as the cold morning light shifts to the warm hues of late afternoon and eventually night, none of this still makes a bloody damn sense. Darkness has fallen, but we're still nowhere near figuring things out. If anything, we're more at a loss than we've ever been before we even started this. The next thing I know, frustration rears its ugly head and the sheets of paper I've been holding smacks the table harder than I intended. The sound of it echoes loudly in the small room and everyone simply falls silent. Along with it is a release of another long-held breath, perhaps the 100th since this morning. We aren't going anywhere at this rate. Don't just drop it. There must be something in this we aren't seeing. It's nothing to hear from her. The very words I've been telling myself every single time I've found myself facing a dead end. We can use a little of the optimism right now, I guess. I know. But what are we supposed to be looking at here in the first place? Well, we already looked through those files, right? You're the one who picked them out last night, right? All of them? I'm pretty sure every person we've checked in there isn't necessarily involved. One client possibly died in old age. Remember, you found that dumb paper. Hey, not so dumb that it can kill all of us. Very funny, Z-Man. Anyway, like I said, you discovered that paper right before the open house. No one else was allowed inside during that time. It's too broad of a scope if we include every single person. In fact, the only notable ones are Say and Jean Mary. But if we're going to include them in the count, shouldn't there have been more than enough people to end this curse already? How does this thing even work? Yeah, okay, they went in and out of the place, but no, you still don't get it. What I'm trying to say about those clients is, maybe there's more than one of it. Even my friend, the priest from the cathedral, has been acting strangely. Father Norman? Him too? Yeah, I visited a few days ago. He was hysterical. They think he's sick, but I have a feeling what might be the real cause. I knew it. I shouldn't have asked for his help. He was only trying to help too. It's not your fault. There might be more than one of that paper going around that we don't know about. More to this. I mean, look at all the stuff Rebecca brought with her. Apparently our own teachers have been lying to us all these years, so who knows? Hey now, don't blame us. Blame the books they wrote. Quietly, Isabel reaches for one of the papers Rebecca has brought with her and carefully inspects the words printed on the page. A copy of an old newsprint from even before the city has been founded. Her eyes narrows with each line it passes, squinting, but lingers at the illustration of a noblewoman's servant. Why do they have to keep this in the restricted section? Rebecca merely shrugs at her inquiry, but her own annoyance seeps through her answer. How should I know? I wasn't even aware we have archives that go as far back as this. This is before the city was even founded. As a matter of fact, if it weren't for Andrew's help, I would have got my hands on any of it. Maybe they didn't think it'll be important to talk about. After all, this is more Alzheimer's than us. This is more Alzheimer's than ours. That, or some old buggers hiding something. Why else would these tell a completely different story? Revising what's happened seems a useless endeavour on its own when you have nothing to gain from it. Thanks to those, we're also missing a lot of things here. All we have to go with is the mansion, the letter, and all the stuff selfish people have been keeping from the public. But what else? Somehow, even with all of this information in hand, it still feels like there's something we're overlooking. At present, everything seems to point to where this all started. The Ermengarde Mansion. We'll bring the letter back there, fix everything. Blank. How do I? The mansion's a private property now. Can't just waltz in there. I'd rather just die before I ever think of bragging right to let me in and investigate the place. One thing's very clear after these last 2 days, however. We're not safe anywhere, and I have to act fast if I want to keep my own friends alive. We can't keep running away. Sooner or later she'll get us. Before that happens, I have to put an end to this. I stand up and stretch out the kinks in my back. After several hours of sitting, we've been at this for too long. A break is needed. Time to let everything to sink in, or else we'll all burn out. I know I will, and it's another thing I cannot let happen when they're all counting on me like this. A belt unspoken is in their eyes as they look up at me, waiting. We've been at this since morning. We should take a break for a few. The rest of it never makes it out of my mouth as something heavy and gritty sounds from the far end of the room. A hushed, booming noise rendering through the eardrums of everyone in the room. All at once, the three of them are on their feet, while I quickly palm for my gun on the table. However, before I can pull it up and remove the safety, the whole racket stops. Stillness descends in the room, and amidst the sudden hush, the four of us exchange anxious glances. So much for a break. Ashton, there might be... Gather everything. No questions asked. They waste no time getting to work, piling up the documents we've been reading through. Even Isabella, usually silent as she's gathering everything in her arms. Her own movements sharp and precise, a deep furrow in her brow. Brow? Yeah. There's fear, but something harder and urgent overshadows it. But the moment doesn't last. Before we can even finish, another noise ups the tension already gripping the place. Suddenly the lights go out and the wardrobe at the end of the room rattles, as if something inside begs for freedom. Cautiously, eyes glued to it, I take a step forward and I release the lock from my gun. I'm no trigger-happy person. I'm not even sure if this will work on a ghost, but right now, its smooth surface against my palm with the trigger on my finger provides the closest thing I have to relief as I approach the closet. Ashton, what are you doing? I don't think it's a good idea. We should just... Worried as they all are, they immediately stop at the slight raise of my hand, but the edge is there, while they all huddle in the space between the door and the room. In case this goes south, whatever I find inside, they have enough time to space to run from their position. In 2 deep breaths, I crossed the room and stood in front of the closet. Whatever's inside has yet to stop thrashing. Instead, it has now moved to banging at the door, louder and louder the longer I delay. Another shallow breath, a glance at my companions, a nod. Something creaks. Then the next moment, I'm grasping at handles and swinging the door wide open to reveal... nothing. Right away, apart the clothes hanging on it, and still none. No ghost, no woman, not a single trace of whatever who's inside. Confused, I glance back towards my companions, only to see them mirroring the same expression on my face. The noise has finally stopped, but I'm quite sure it isn't in my imagination. Not especially since the other three have also got the same queries. Or maybe it is, and I'm just too strung up that my head's now making things up. whatever the case is, we need to get out of here as soon as possible. This only confirms we aren't safe anywhere. Without bothering to close it, I move back, ready to leave, adrenaline now coursing through every vein in my body. In the next second, I'm barking orders at. We should go, everyone. We need to. I sense sprawling on my back and something cold catches my ankles and yanks. Ah, this vein. The resulting fall knocks the wind out of me. Pain reeks my whole spine and the back of my head as it collides against the floor, with force enough to dislodge my own brain from my skull. A moment lasts before stars fade from my vision, and then I sense it. Cold tendrils twisting around my ankles, the smell of vile rot assaulting my nose, nauseating, sickening, a foul smell of draining every feeling in my body. The moment her horrid laughter, still as unpleasant and vicious as the last time I've heard it, reaches my ears, my eyes snap open. Perhaps it's just inexperience. Or maybe my mind's still attempting to comprehend this. Regardless, the minute my eyes land on her, the whole of my body freezes. The gun in my hand turns useless as my grip on it slackens. It's in the manner her gaze bores on me, I'll say. The look of utter hatred and malice. I've seen it loads of times. From suspects, mostly murders, who never regretted their actions despite being caught. This is the face of someone you can no longer reason with, and I know. The moment she laughs again and starts dragging me towards her, it's already going to be the... Ashton, snap out of it! No, I can't die here. Not yet. Okay, so is this going to be a quick time event soon? Story update, that. Okay, there's no quick time event so far. Okay. Okay, we should just simply go through this and see what happens. I'm going to save first, though, but I haven't done so in a while. Everyone, out! Get out! Get out of here! With one powerful tug, I yank my foot out of her grip and scramble back to my feet, ignoring the piercing wails she fills the room with. Within the span of a second, I'm gunning for the door, grabbing the wrist of the first person my hands can reach and leading everyone out. Into the hallway, down the flight of steps, and right inside my car. I waste no time flooring on the gas pedal the second the last person closes the door behind them. And in a short while, I'm driving us out of Salmonwell. I don't even entertain the thought of winding down just yet. Even as the last of the woman's painful cries fade into the night. Yeah, indeed. Under the bed, on the roofs, and even behind the car. With the help of his friends, Ashton tried to find a way to free themselves of the curse, piecing together what they currently know, but before they could figure out, a ruckus coming from Isabel's closet broke the silence of the room. October the 31st, Monday. The first time we are on this date. Undiscovered entry. Undiscovered entry. So where are we right now in terms of the timeline? Let's see, branching tree. Over here, and we go across all the way over to... Whoa, we skipped quite a little bit of a timeline, it seems. Over here, common route. Other choices in the past would have led us towards other avenues, but we don't have time for that right now. Okay, so we're... Gosh. Where the heck are we? Okay, we're over here. We skipped a lot of the story for some odd reason, but I'm pretty sure the choices made in the past allowed us to lead to this point here. So now we've got this choice over here then. A dreary downpour starts off for Monday. Although it doesn't last more than an hour, the dark clouds lift just after the sun peaks over the horizon. Brief as it is, the rain has significantly dampened the park's usual cheery vibe. Mornings like these often mark the start of another bad week, an arrest gone wrong, another investigation leading to a dead end, or some truly blanked up blank being called in. Like that one I was dispatched for a scene where a guy gouged his own eyeball out and almost ate it. Was a few chews away from swallowing it. In fact, oh my god, lost my dinner that day. Oh, not surprised. Oh, that guy was insane, must be. Fun times? Oh my god. Of course, I doubt anything can top getting cursed by a damn chain letter of all things. This is the sort of stupid thing people pass along as a prank through emails and text messages. Or faded letters, for blank's sake. A ghost chasing after you just puts the icing on that cake. So far, all we've done is run, snoop about, read stuff, and run again. It frustrates me to no end how we're still no closer to an answer. Even my car reflects the same state my mind is in. Photocopies of documents litter every available surface, scattered all over the place. Sorry. Spilling from the passenger side and into the back seat, making a tiny mess of what little space there is. Not that I'm any better. My last shower was 24 hours ago. I haven't slept at all, and my last meal was that chocolate porridge thing Isabel offered. The way I'm now, I would definitely get a scolding. Rebecca would definitely give me an earful and tell me to take care of myself better. Say that I'm kidding myself on the job. I can already hear Isabel complain how dark the bags were under my eyes are getting, and about how I reek and how I need to shower pronto. I can rest easy when this is all over. It's not that I can't feel the pun of hunger. With that woman chasing after you, it's difficult not to feel anything other than horror. The rush of adrenaline coursing through my veins in my desperation to survive. In fact, I can still sense the ghost of her touch the ghost of her touch last night. Her bony digits wound tightly around my ankle, and that horrid smile still has on her as she pulls me closer. The memory's enough to send a shiver up my spine and make me angsty. Perhaps the only thing comforting around this is the sight of my gun nearby. From my dashboard, sunlight gleams off Ophelia's surface. Normally, I keep it hidden in a compartment. Luxman Police regulates only allows authorized people to carry firearms, and even those are limited. I don't have that authorization. I do have authorization, but I never really saw the use of its use. When the standard issue tasers are more than good enough to incapacitate anyone. If not, I can always throw them on their back. Those judo lessons Dad forced me to get as a kid has its uses too. Or not a ghost though. All of those will probably yield the same results. They're all useless. I might as well use a stick. However, it's the feeling of ease I'm after, or what little of it I can gather from it. The awareness of that, at least, has something to protect myself with, in case things go wrong. That I can still protect the people who are still dependent on me despite the missteps I've taken. It doesn't take the edge off, though. The feeling that your body has been strained far beyond its capacity. Frankly, I'm already running out of steam. The only thing pushing me right now is knowing someone's still depending on me. A stretch is still in order, though. I've been sitting here since last night. Soon I step out of my car, closing it behind me with a thud, and as I take in my surroundings. The rain did wonders. The morning air feels crisper and cooler than it has ever been for days. For once, the weather seems to be taking a turn for the normal. Luxman's normal. In the distance, beyond the buildings lining the horizon, dark clouds are blowing in. A storm might be due this evening, give or take. A shame for the people looking forward to Halloween tonight. Oh yeah, it's October 31st. Just hit me like that. I'm just not sure whether this is something I can look forward to as well. Still, I bask in the change it brings. Inhale, exhale, breathing in, taking in the pace, as if it'll be my last. But as with all good things, the quiet surely comes to an end. Not necessarily a bad end. The chatter reaches my ears first, halting my movements. Sure enough, when I glance up, I find Zach, Rebecca and Isabella just as they've entered the park grounds, bags of convenient store food in hand. After last night's flight from Sunwell, we elected to stay for the night here, unsure if our own homes will still be safe. Normally, we'd all be adverse to the idea of spending the night outside like this, but panic and distress has tainted that decision. It's not like any of us have got an ounce of sleep anyway. On the off chance one of us did, it only lasted but a second, or it's a fitful one. But looking at them right now from afar, it's easy to mistake them for just a group of friends out on a day out. Isabella's gesturing wildly with her arms as she talks. Something funny or amusing probably, because it's soon followed by Zach's booming laughter, and Rebecca's giggles. Their voices fill the atmosphere with light air, temporarily easing off the disheartening mood. It's easy to pretend we're not knee-deep in a life-and-death situation the way they're acting now. If anything, it's only their appearance that betrays that mask. Slightly disheveled, bags under their eyes, an exhausted curve in their shoulders, and dragging footsteps. But the closer they get, the more obvious these signs are to the naked eye. Zach tosses an energy drink my way the moment the distance allows it. Isabel hands me the other bag she's holding before seating herself on the edge of the fountain. The scent of warm food immediately wafts from the bag when I open it, carried further by a passing breeze. Whatever sweet sauce they drizzled over this pork wannabe, it smells heavenly. Hell, even the sorry-looking vegetables seem appetizing. Despite myself, without even checking exactly what this is, hunger swiftly takes over every rational thought. I'm digging without waiting for them to start. The rest of them appear to be on the same manner too. Soon enough, they also start with theirs. No casual talk while we fill our empty stomachs. Exhausted as we all are, food is something we cannot forego. Starvation dwells the thinking, weakens the body. If we are to survive this, we're going to have to take care of ourselves first. In a matter of minutes, we're done and dumping the empty cartons on a nearby waste bin. Along with it is the shift in the mood. Back to Dismal, back to the problem at hand. The comfortable atmosphere from minutes ago was nice while it lasted. Admittedly, I missed these kind of moments between us. We never had the chance. We're always busy on some project or work. The things we've taken for granted. Now we're realizing how valuable they are. The world has been an awful sense of humour. While the one we've just had is short-lived, it's another thing I want to look forward to. If we even free ourselves from this damn curse I'd like to believe there's a way. For now, we have to focus back on the present. This. Dead people. The letter. The curse. It's not simple to bring these up. Excuse me. But necessary. What now? Where do we even go from here? It's not a question directed at anyone in particular, but they all look to me as if my face has all the answers in the world. I used to think so, back when I'm at the top of my game, and I'm still sure of everything. Now there's just uncertainty swaying whatever decision I come up with. At some point, logic has simply stopped working here, and we've started grasping at straws. Along with exhaustion, fatigue and stress, we have enough kindling to get a fire burning. This is not good, it seems. The not so pleasant kind of fire. Well, first, we can't just stay here, that much is obvious. But we can't just keep running like this either. Becca, sooner or later she'll... As if we have a choice. We can't even go back to our homes, because that thing might get us. Nowhere's safe, but dying is the last thing I want to do right now, Isabel. Not to a stupid chain laser you were too gullible to pick up, bring with you, and show to everyone. I didn't do it on purpose. Beckett, had I known, I wouldn't have... Hey, you two, none of us want to die like this. Calm down, we aren't getting anywhere shouting at each other. Whose side are you on, Zachery? No one's. But we can't just say it's her fault. She did warn us not to open it, and both you and Zachen, that doesn't exempt her from any blame. She's still largely responsible for it. You're not. I didn't say that. Do you think that I don't blame myself for this as well? I tried to warn you all. None of you listened. Now you're blaming me for something I kept telling you guys since day one. You're just as responsible for this as I am. So you're now throwing it back at us. We wouldn't have even have a problem with this before if you're... Will you two cut it out? This ain't the place for, I don't know, petty squabbles. If you don't want to get caught in it, then stay out of it, Zachery. Oh no, Zach, don't stop her. Let her say it. I'm sure she has plenty more to say. If I didn't know any better, she's already... Already what? You want me to say it out loud? Will I find you in this whole thing? Alright, that's enough. Everyone shut up. They all folded to silence at my words, and an awkward, stiffly mood descends between us. I do not mean to shout, to snap at them, to add to that kindling. Not in a moment when every time, anywhere, she might get to one of us. We're all in the same boat here. But yet here we are, playing the blame game. Little by little we're falling apart, caving into the pressure, to the bleak situation we're trapped in. Did that ghost mean for this to happen, to divide each of us so she can pick us off one by one, right after? Who knows? Anything's possible now if her kind can exist. With the fire burning between us, rising as high as it does, I'm afraid, deathly afraid, that the possibility might come sooner than I can figure all of this out. Blank. I still can't think straight. I can't even believe the next words coming out of my mouth. That out of everyone. I have to be the one saying them to listen. This is more than 40 than mine. Keeping the peace. Platting everyone, while I unintentionally aggravate people with badly chosen words. Funny how fast the tables have been turned after just one unfortunate incident. How am I even supposed to cope? If we all want to get out of this mess in one piece, we're going to have to cool our heads first. Before my own temper flares, I walk aside and slide back into my car. If the door slams with more force than needed, I'd like to blame it to the pent-up anger boiling up in me. I'm not even sure who or what I'm angry at. The ghost at them, or maybe at myself for being this useless. Because despite none of them saying it, I know, god damn it. They're still counting on me, in spite of my failures or every harsh word I've uttered, or how bearable I can be at a friend. It's there when the tension after the argument finally breaks, and one by one they followed me and get into the car. It's in concerned glances they shoot my way when I start the engine without a word and drive off. It's in their silence, a heavy grit, their unwavering trust. Yet, it's one I'm more than willing to carry, even though through my own exhaustion, if only to keep them safe. After spending the night at the local park, Ashton and his friends tired to try to figure out what the next step is. However, coupled with fatigue and stress, the conversation quickly went downhill. Frustrated, Ashton walked out, suggesting they cool their heads first. Yeah, it's one of... Yeah, I've already read that. In this city of 68,000 strangers, they're the only ones I have left. Though, in all seriousness, a good rest would still be our best bet for now. Thinking with an exhausted brain is almost as good as running around in circles. We might as well just throw ourselves at that ghost and be done with this. The local Irish pub may not be the best place to hang around when one hasn't slept a wink, or your stress, more often than not, is loud. Sometimes the music played by drunkards grits the ears, and the whole place smells like blank on a bad day. All in all, it's the very definition of the last place to hang around after a wakeful night, but it's safe. or as safe as it can be with G's security watching the place. Makes it easy to find help in case you find yourself in a tight spot. The place being owned by a person I've implicitly placed my trust on provides some semblance of comfort too. Gregor, bartender G or just G to his regular Patreons, might be rough around the edges, sometimes a bit too gruff for a man serving drinks behind the counter, but he belongs to the good folk of the city. If there's anyone in this place I can rely on to look after people important to me, it's probably him. He means well. Surprisingly, despite his surly demeanour, cares to some extent for people he likely only sees once or twice a week on a bad day. Not the best joke in the world in my opinion, but that's exactly it, isn't it? In wine there is truth. Alcohol, this is the case. It loosens the tongue, forces one to let his or her own guard down. Whatever inhibitants anyone has, it all flies straight out of the window after a few glasses. It has made him observant too, always has one or two things to say about someone or something. Most of the time it's me, opinionated ass, but God knows how many times I've asked for his help when I've met with a dead end in a case or I'm in trouble. This time's no different. As expected, the moment we show up, he's kind enough to offer us a room at the back of his shop. A single look at my face, I don't even need to say anything, and the next thing we know, he's leading us in. No questions asked. Maybe it's also for this reason why I find myself drifting towards his station hours later, after having gotten that much needed shut-eye. Newly washed drinking glasses and tumblers line the counter surface when I enter the room. Behind the bar, G's busy, wiping each of them clean, like prepping it for tonight's use. Briefly, he glances up at me. Once I claim one of the empty stools and grab a glass sitting close to my elbow, turning it absent-mindedly in my palm, just to keep my hands occupied while my brain's busy, still trying to make sense of everything. Even at a dead hour, with only a few patrons milling about, this place still smells strongly of liqueur. Honestly, I've never grown fond of it. Regardless of how many times I've made a trip or sat here on the same spot just talking with the old man, I've never been fond of drinking in the first place. Yet oddly, it's the nasty odour of a brewery that helps clear the mind this time, along with the lack of the establishment's usual hubbub and the occasional clean of glasses. Even more bizarre is that, though my lack of words, G doesn't say anything. Although it's clear from the way his mouth has curved up in a tight frown that he has questions, a bucket load of it, he wisely keeps it shut. Instead, he simply focused back on his work. Rinse, wipe, stash away, repeat, going through the motions with such familiarity, it's almost a trance. Watching his precise movements quietly like this, with these thoughts swimming inside my head, it's easy to lose track of everything around me. One solid lead on this, one possible way to sort this out, but will it work? Especially if my assumption's correct and that reason Zach was there yesterday morning was because of a curse. Something must have happened there for him to see the need to visit the place that morning. What if the couple had fallen victim to the curse too? It doesn't fall outside the realm of possibility. I've been so biased, not even thinking that they might be in danger as well. But during that open house with Isabel, they might have seen the letter and blank. Stupid, so detective I am. That's like the moment when Cooper saw it. If the logic holds, I need to hurry there right away. And if there are answers anywhere, it would be there. It should be there, where all of this mess started. It's not only my life on the line here, there are others. What happened to us? I won't wish for anyone else, no matter how much I loathe them, or how complicated all of this has suddenly become. The letter, the woman, the mansion, and now there are voices lacing venom inside every crevice in my head, murmurs that jeer, scoff, and deride whenever an opportunity presents itself. It's because you didn't listen. It's all your fault. Why won't you believe me? A reminder of what I failed to do and of who I failed. At some point they all begin to blur together, twining and coiling, every horrid image and memory of her, seeking the forefront of my mind. No matter how much I refuse to remember the fear I felt then, to push it as far back as I can, the visions come to me like a deluge. And before I know it, before I can drown, another voice pulls me out of it. You doing good there, boy? His hand is on my shoulders, gripping it tightly and giving me a little shake. There's relief in his face when I finally look up at him, although his frown appears more distant in the concern in his eyes. It's deeper now, merged with worry and agitation. He does let go when I offer him a small nod, but a frown between his eyebrows never leaves his face. He always has a knack for reading people, after all, even someone who can be as closed off or distant like me. In all the times I've spent in the force, there's only one other person who's as keen as this old man, the chief. Funny and weird to some degree. I pointed out to him so many times before how much they look alike, only for the observation to be brushed off with a vehement tone. I never brought it up again after the third time, out of respect for the guy, whatever it is. It's clear it's something he doesn't want to talk about. Why push it, right? However, during times like this, it's impossible for the thought not to come up. He even has the glare pat down. Under his wordless scrutiny, I feel like a damn rookie again. You're looking a bit green. Sure you got plenty of rest back there? You were out only for an hour or two. It wouldn't hurt to try and get some sleep. I'll keep an eye out. No need. Don't worry about me. I won't be able to get some sleep anyway. Not with her face still a clear picture in my head, no. Heard that from you before. Not buying it. What's the story this time? This as bad as a case with the guy who ate his own eyeball? I wish it were. And Jesus, stop reminding me. I hated that case. If I didn't know any better, I'd say you get a kick out of telling people about it. It's useful for blokes who don't know their limits. Sends it right out of the door after I start with a description. Or was it the part when the poor schmuck gouged his eyeballs out? Nasty, awful, icky stuff, and it gets the job done. Like I said, useful. Don't even need to call security these days if I want to kick someone out. Anyway, pretty sure that comparison to whatever this is now. Haven't seen you this stressed since they closed that case, one from 10 years ago, with your professor friend. Abigail and her team weren't able to solve this one, G. No one has been able to, it's just went cold. Same difference. But what do I know here? I just serve drinks. This is people's problems and their women. Then make sure they get home safe afterwards. Thing is, I'm also not blind, kiddo, and you can bet your ass I can tell when a person's about to fall apart. What, is this some sort of therapy from you? Are you going to offer me free drinks now? Really, I could use some right now. Something to numb the senses. But when has that helped anyone? In your dreams, kid. Last time someone gave you the hard stuff, your photographer friend had to haul you out of this place almost half naked. Hey, I can handle the cure when I put my mind into it. Not from what I've seen, nope. Besides, you usually avoid drinking either way, it's out of the equation. And when booze no longer counts, we just talk. So talk. It's not like anyone within earshot will care. That chap over there only wants his cricket matches. I doubt you'd believe it, G. I've heard worse stuff. Try me. You know that mansion down the asylum? Yeah, who doesn't? You live in this town long enough. It's impossible not to hear a thing or two about it. Bloody locals. Well, my friend found a primitive version of a chain letter in there. Now that we've seen it, we're cursed. A beat passes. For a long moment, G stands there unmoving. His hand stops short of placing the glass he's been wiping parlour back to a rack on his left. All while he stares at me with eyes that are nothing short of scrutinizing. He probably assumes I'm joking. Who wouldn't? Not a week ago, I've been put in the same position. Even now, in spite of the things I've seen and heard, it simply won't sink in. Or maybe this is just desperation creeping in. The idea that I may not be able to find a way out of this. whatever the case is. But people who hasn't experienced what I'm going through, this would merely sound like an awful Halloween prank. It's not a prank! That must have been what Isabel felt the whole time we made fun of her that day. This isn't a prank, I saw something. Now it's too late. We're stuck in a never-ending nightmare, where the only way out might be death. And like I expected, G's reaction to it, an amused laughter. It booms out to the whole pub after a long bout of silence, like I've just told him a particularly funny joke. Okay, good one, kid. You don't know what to spill. No one's forcing you, seriously, though, good one. Although I want to be angry at him, I can't find it in myself. Can't even muster the energy for a squall or glare. Nothing but a taste of my own medicine to temper the annoyance bubbling up in me, I suppose. In the end, echoing her words the best I can do. Yeah, it's not a joke. Yeah, alright, good luck, Brett. You're on your own. Here I thought you didn't have an ounce of humour in that body. Guess I'm wrong. He shakes his head, lets out another chuckle before returning to his task. By now, almost half of the glass has been put away. The only ones remain are the smaller kind of used for shots and stemmed ones for cocktails. Despite being busy with his task, his amusement does not entirely disappear from his face. He keeps talking, as if I'm simply another customer he's entertained with his stories. But we both know it's more than that. It's the wistful expression on him says anything. Man. Can't believe you're the same rookie who walked in here almost a decade ago. Too smart for his own good, that boy. Has always been 2 steps ahead of everything. Now he's here sulking. I must have screwed up somewhere then. I must have screwed up a lot. For things to suddenly shift like this, for me to become a mere shadow of the person I used to be. Nah, I don't think so. This one screwed up, not by a mile. It's too early to say. You've still got several years ahead of you, Holmes. Take it easy. But some things can change, It's been years, and you were a kid back then, you know. The sort that's a bit unsure, making all the horrible decisions in life he'd eventually be embarrassed to talk about. You never stopped calling me a kid, though. Well, you still are. It's just at this time, you're sure of who that budging gun is for. What was it you police types usually say? To protect and serve? Yeah? A significant pause follows at its heels, from both of us, as he allows its meaning to sink in and spur something in me, stirring a feeling both heavy and forceful, but not completely unwelcome, familiar. But before I can clarify what he's trying to imply or gather my thoughts on the matter, G turns away and to begin his work on the silverwares. Lovely, lovely silverwares. He'll need those, too. Once more of his patrons coming for lunch. Slow and easy. A sharp contrast to the strained hour we've been wading through these past weeks. A fleeting moment, but I allow myself to relish, if only because of his absence lately. The way things are now, this is almost a gift. So when it all ends with a loud stiffening of foot from the adjacent hallway, a sigh is all that leaves me. There's no need for me to look up to know who it is. Satis treads alone are telling, there's always a weighted set to them. Steps that are taken with a lazy cadence, like he's always trying to make himself smaller, less conspicuous than he actually is. In the places I'm familiar with, he also tends to linger, stand awkwardly at the sides, as if he's all too afraid to break something. That, or he's waiting for permission of some kind. Either way, he's never been the kind to barrel headfirst into things, or forego courtesy, despite appearances. Much like how Rebecca's mother, Haining, I don't know how to pronounce that word, her fiery temperament, or Isabel's rarely displays of maturity appears at odds with her youth. There has been a lot of those in my life, it seems, more so from the people I've grown closer to over the years. Walking contradictions we're all in. It's a wonder how we ended up as friends in the first place, but maybe that's all exactly why, to some extent. There's still an understanding in there, in knowing. There's no matter how long you've been together. or how familiar you are with a person's habits, or how many lifetimes there might be for all of you. One can never fully know a person. Sometimes it works because they merely chose to stay. Sometimes it's as simple as someone extending a hand first for an apology, regardless of every hateful word said. Hey, Ash. This time I glance at him, briefly, gouging the mood. Not because reconciliation's an issue for me. Between us it never will be. But somehow, this is another thing I'm all too afraid to see crumble in front of me. One word. If this is going to end in another argument, we might as well stop as early for now. There's another long pause from him, during which he can't seem to figure out what to do with his hand. In the end, he chose to stuff both into his pockets and train his eyes at the now empty space between the counter. Without our notice, Gia slips back to the kitchen, leaving only the two of us and everything awkward in the world at the moment. Still, Zach treads on, a hopeful tune slipping into his voice. Simply because it's the only thing he knows to do. Did you, get any sleep? It's a start at least. A stiff one, but a start. At least I can offer in return is that rare honesty. For a few hours, yeah. Cut. Procures not an ounce of friendliness in that. In spite of it, Satch takes it as a sign. Relief washes over him and as his shoulders relax and he releases a tense breath. Soon, he's closing the distance he has put between us and flops onto the chair to my right. I think the better question is if the dreams are pleasant. And for the record, no. I know what you mean. I get those a lot. He shifts in his seat, coughs, drums his fingers on the counter for a short while, then falls silent. That's it, no apologies. Somehow that short exchange is all we need. Yeah, it changes again, much like everything we've known lately. Maybe not for the better, not yet. However, it's less suffocating, with less hostility and resentment. The kind where it's easy to pretend, easy to forget. Not that it's a thing that'll happen anytime soon, but one can dream. In a situation where death might come knocking any time, it's these little hope we cling to. That doesn't sound right. It's these little hope. It's the little hope we cling to. It's these little things we wish that will happen again. I'm not an optimistic person by nature. Hopeful maybe, but never optimistic. Though I want to believe there's always a way we'll live through this nightmare. It's just funny how it took all of this to spur through these kind of thoughts in me. I can't even remember the last time something like this had occurred to me. For some reason, after seeing one harrowing thing after another, I've simply forgotten. Why? Why are you suddenly smiling like that? Huh? Oh, no, I was just thinking about something. Well, it better be something that will get us out of this mess. What makes you think I know how to face this? Until 2 days ago, I didn't even believe a word you guys have been telling me. Zach, I function better when I'm dealing with homicide cases. Hell, feel free to throw in the usual robbery and missing person in case of the mix. I don't care. Give me a few days and I'll give you a lead. This isn't how I'm operate. This isn't what I'm good at. For all you know, I might even end us getting killed. I have no idea what I'm doing. Well, the fact you're frustrated, but still trying already means something, Ash. Besides, you don't make that face unless you already have an idea. It can't be worse than this, maybe. What's on your mind, Ash? There really is something about Seaman. Between Rebecca and him, I tend to share with him things I won't normally say to the others. Unlike her who pushes, sometimes with the same tendency as her moods, Zach has this strange tendency to ease people into telling him what he wants to know. Oftentimes, the question feels so subtle, it catches me off guard, with less force and more forbearance. After all, out of everyone, he's the most grounded. Really, he's like the other older brother I've never had, the kind you can depend on when things go sour, the kind you tell things to simply because he'll listen. We still have one more lead we haven't cracked. I'm gonna look into it tonight. It doesn't take him too long to put 2 and 2 together, and his calm expression abruptly dissolves to worry the second he realizes what I meant. We've already examined the letter, read through piles of document. There's really only one thing we haven't given it once over: the mansion. Of course, Zach may not be the kind to push, but that doesn't mean he agrees with everything that comes out of my mouth. It's his way of keeping me steady on my feet through the years. Hold on. Didn't you tell me not to go in there? Whatever happened to stay away from Luke Wright? You're an unarmed civilian, Zach. And so I want to tell you. So I want you to stay here and keep yourself safe. I probably won't take too long, and I don't know what might happen there. I'm not even sure if I'll find something there. G will keep an eye on you guys. If you need anything, if that woman shows up, just holler. He'll help out. No questions asked. You don't even need to explain anything. He's not willing to concede, not from the manner he grips his knees on or which is set to his jaw. I'm going with you. You can't go in there alone. Ash, I heard something. From the morning I was there, I heard someone scream, and then there was a woman crying, and I don't know what's going on inside that mansion, but I'm telling you, you shouldn't face whatever's inside alone. Before I can stop myself, a heavy breath escapes from my mouth. It's one of those times again, when Zach means well, but he's completely missing the point I'm trying to make. When things take a turn for this, when he gets in a mood like this, he's almost as headstrong as Isabel. I feel better if I don't have to worry about you. That would be better to say, actually. So, thank you very much for watching, guys. And we're going to see each other on the next time of the letter, where hopefully we're going to draw out some conclusions from this story by visiting to the mansion itself. Have a good day and take care of yourselves.